I wanted to ask you about a couple of people that I remember, and I've got this. I'm enamored with.
I'm getting hard enough hearing.
Oh, I'm enamored with Red Snyder.
Oh.
Do you remember him?
Very definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
I was in his house one
You
time.
were? I never knew him, but I've heard some great stories about him.
Yeah, everybody's heard stories about Red.
And I don't know why, but I've got this I don't know what you call it. I'm enamored with the guy. Fixation with him, and I just want to hear stories about him. Do you have any stories about him or what you can tell me?
Yeah, there's a few, but I don't know personally what they did, but some of the women up there, Red didn't have a wife, he never was married, and some of the women, they got smart and played a trick on him. They made this dummy and took it up and put it in his bed.
to be funny. Yeah.
I was in his house when I worked for the information and referral office, and Margaret had to go up there, or maybe it was a woman, I don't remember if it was Margaret or one that was taking her place. Anyway, they didn't want to go alone. Margaret had gone up and called on him once and had a revolver stick out the door right in her face practically, and until she finally convinced him who she was.
Well, what year was this? Was this like in the 70s or the 60s? Was this the 60s? In the 1960s?
No, it was later than that. I retired in 81, so it was the 70s and 80s.
70s and 80s, okay.
And I worked down there. But I went up there with him. And the house he was living in, the back part of it had collapsed and fallen down. He just had one room actually in there. And the crud was piled so high on the floor, chips and stuff from his fire. You couldn't get the door open much farther than that to get into the place. And his bed, the first time Margaret went up there, poor old fella, he was sleeping on this nothing but springs with an old coat on it. So she got him a mattress. The next time we went up there, why, all he had was springs.
I wonder what he did with the mattress.
Dogs. He had a bunch of dogs, and they'd got up there and
dug them. Oh no!
And the poor little old, he had an old bitch that had pups. And poor little old things that didn't have anything to eat other than he had a sack of some kind of ground green there that they just have to go over and eat out of that.
Oh.
That one I remember is that one poor little old thing wobbling out to get it a drink outside. He couldn't hardly walk.
Oh.
And anyway, Nelson Agee used to tell a lot of stories about Red. He said that when he'd cook an egg, he'd just put the shells in there and pile the shells up till he had a pile of eggshells about as tall as his stove.
Oh, funny. Now, he had chickens? He must have had chickens.
Well, he used to have a lot of things. I don't know if he had chickens or if he bought his egg. He had goats that run all over people's places up there. And he had cattle that run all over around there. At one time, I think they said they had 400 goats up there. And they loaded up a whole trailer load of them and took them down into California. I don't know what they did with them down there.
Oh my!
Whether they used them for food or what they did with them. They were the Angora, the nice
ones.
But anyway, I don't know too many personal stories about him. After my grandmother died, he bought their team of horses that they had, and I took the horses over through the woods, over the hills, and delivered them over to Red Snyder. He lived further on up the valley here, you know, all the way up towards the head of Gopher Valley. So I took the team of horses.
So did you walk them or?
I rode one and led the other.
Wow.
Okay. Anyway,
Huh.
as far as any personal stories, that's all I know about him. He's quite an old character.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the funny part of it was, he lived in an old hovel up there, just a dirty old shack. And down below him was this old bachelor that was neat as a pin, they said. I never saw his house, but the people who lived around up there said, I can't even think of his name now, but said he was just a perfect, neat housekeeper. And I don't know whether it was after he died or moved out from up there, that's where Red moved down into his house. And
Oh, really?
that's where he was living when we went up there, and the back part of the house had fallen in.
Oh my gosh. Huh. Yeah, I'm quite enamored with that guy. I don't know why.
Was there one other one you said?
Oh, just, let's see. I don't know a lot of the people that lived up Gopher Valley. It was the people in town that I knew.
I don't know any of them now either.
Yeah.
Bruce Graves lives up here.
Yeah.
Kenny Tilden and Bruce's boys, one of them anyway, one or two of them live up there. And Roger Smith.
Yeah, Roger, I went to school with him.
Did you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's my fourth son.
Oh, that's great.
He comes here and does things for me.
Oh, good.
And
He's a nice guy.
Clifford made arrangements with him to stop one day a week and see if I needed to go to town. So he's just very regular. He stops
Oh, great.
on Wednesday to see if I need to go to town for anything.
You go in his blue car? That blue
Got a
car?
new one now.
Oh, he does?
His sister Della gave him her car.
Oh,
He's got a
wonderful.
little white Subaru.
Oh, great. Well, I'll have to look for that then, because I always look for that blue
Oh,
car.
that old car.
Yeah.
It took a gallon of gas every time it turned over, practically.
Yes. Yeah.
But, he was broke most of the time.
Mhm.
He'd come here and do jobs for me, and I'd pay him a little bit.
Oh.
But, and his sister Terry, I know her up there. Linda Fagan Bird,
Yes.
I know her.
Yeah, Wendy is a friend of mine, and she's part of the Sheridan days. And I'd like to meet her. I remember her mother, but I don't remember her more than just what she looks